So we just tested 3 of Maltby's new clubs released in their 2025 line. How do they hold up? And are they going to make you a better golfer?
Be the right club today. Yes!
What's going on, guys? G2 here with 3-Putt Bogey. And a couple weeks ago, I got these Maltby clubs, wedges, 2 wedges and an iron. They're part of their new 2025 release. And we have the TE Plus in the diamondized black metal finish. We had a 7-iron here. We have the DRT wedges, a 56 in the DRT A. And then we have a 50 in the DRT G. So in this video, we're going to cover the wedges, the 50 and the 56. Let's start with the 50. So all in all, just like in the 7-iron, the looks on this club, just it looks nice. I do have a little issue at address, and this is going to be a common theme with the 56 as well, is the thickness of this top line. For a gap wedge, I don't mind it because gap wedge is, for me, kind of my universal Swiss Army tool club. I can use it for full swings, 75, 50, chipping, pitching. So I don't mind for the full swings to have that thicker top line. In terms of wear, this got a ton of use, not only at the course, but on the range. And you can see here, the sole, leading edge, looks great, looks fine. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. Couple little minor scratches. The face, just a little glinting right there. That's about it. I'm going to go to the video here. I'm going to comment over it because we did a bunch of different shots. I really didn't have a lot of full shots on the course. So we're going to start with at the range full shots. Now this is a 50 degree for me. I don't ever swing my wedges 100%. That's a promise I make to myself because when I start to go full bore with my wedges, bad things happen. So I try to stay very contained in a like 80%, 85% power for my wedges only. They go a little bit shorter. I don't really care. It's not that big of a deal. But I feel that the harder I swing with my wedges, typically the less I get in terms of performance just because of ball striking. We'll start with the full swings. A 50 degree for me. Now take this with a grain of salt. A 85% 50 degree goes about 115 yards for me. I use this for that shot. Anything from a 115 to about 85. I can change my swing power to fall within that line, whether it's a 100%, a 75, or a 50. So these are some full shots with the 50. Pretty average trajectory, kind of what I would expect. Really no difference here. Consistency was really good. They essentially landed almost exactly in the same spot. So then I went to kind of my half. This is my 90-ish yard shot, 85, and lower trajectory comes in a little bit spinnier, and they definitely did spin. So from a full to half swing performance, really good. So here's some of it on the range. This again is like kind of that medium range pitch chip shot, lower trajectory, get it rolling like a putt. This is pretty much how I prefer to do my chipping and pitching. And in both of these situations, it worked great. A final result for the 50 before we move on to the 56. I like this club. I think that it performed as expected. I think there are improvements that could be made. We'll talk about them at the end because they're both kind of universal to this and the 56. But as a gap wedge, if you don't have something that can match your set and you kind of want to go down the official like wedge, gap wedge, not match set gap wedge, I think this is a great option for you to go. And at $80, I think the full club altogether would cost you maybe $120. Way cheaper than a Vokey, a Callaway, RTX, all of that stuff. So I think it's a legit option. Now on to the 56, because that's where things change big time. Spoiler alert, I struggled mightily with this club. And I'll talk about why I think it is here in a minute, but let's look at some of the results. The looks of it is probably, it looks good from here. But once you address the ball, the glaring issues start to begin. And I saw it the minute I laid this down in a bunker. And the top line. On a wedge like this, no. It is way too thick. It almost looks like you're playing like a 9-iron in terms of the size of the club face. It looks very, very small. That is not very confidence boosting. If you don't understand what I mean, grab your like 9-iron and lay it down and open it up. And that's what this looks like. Like you have no room here to make a good strike. It's very, very little, lots of error. And I think it's just the design of the club. Most wedges have a little bit more right here in this heel. It's a very thin, a very acute drop. A lot of these other wedges give you a little bit more meat right here, so when you open it up, it doesn't look tiny. And we'll get into the biggest issue with this in a second, but here's some shots from the course and the range. Now, I tried this standard, open, shut, bunker. It was just not good. So this is one of the couple shots on the course here, and decent, like the uphill lie definitely helped with me getting this ball in the air, but I mean, it didn't land soft. It rolled out, and it eventually rolled off the green, and I ended up having to try to flop shot, which was a fail. So on the range, these are like the standard chip shots, right? Pretty easy. You got maybe 35, 40 feet to the pin. This I was doing really well, and I'd like to think that chipping and pitching is probably the strength of my game. And I was starting to feel pretty confident with this. I was like, okay, we got to keep the face pretty square to the target. We can't really manipulate it much, and we get good performance. So feeling pretty confident after that last session, I decided, let's try to open it up and do some high floaters. And disaster. The bounce, listen, it's like a double hit. This one, definitely you can hear it. The bounce just got in the way of the club. I couldn't get under it. I couldn't get it to float and land soft. It was just a disaster. So I went back. I was like, okay, well, maybe we have to go square face. So I go back to square face, and perfect. So after that little revelation of we need to get into thicker rough to use the bounce, we moved it back. And we just got a little bit, it's like maybe 20 feet of carry to get onto the green, and it should kind of release. So, short and fat. The club just got hung up in the rough. It did not glide through it. We're going to be stubborn and keep trying this again, because that's what we do. Chunky. Just barely rolled onto the green. So this one, I raised my hands up just a little bit, thinking maybe we need more toe, and that was the worst of all of them. So why not make this harder? Let's really jam this ball, give us the worst possible lie, and we're going to go at this with more of a square club face. We're not going to open up the club. And it comes out perfect. Needless to say, me and the 56 did not work out. I think it's partially because this has way more bounce than I usually play. My 56 and my 60 and 54 are all custom ground down. If you hadn't seen the video how to do that, it's on the channel. Find it. I usually run my 56s at like a 7 to 8 degrees of bounce. My 60 is like a 4. I don't take divots with my chipping or my pitching. I like to nip the ball to get the spin and to get the feel. Now, I'll tell you, like on this, there have been comments that this metal finish, diamondized black metal finish, gives a strange click. And with this club, 100% accurate. It didn't do it with the 7-iron. It did it a little bit with the 50 when we were going down in power. So if you have a strong swing speed, right, you're not going to get that weird clicky sound. It's when you're trying to do those finesse shots that you really hear it's just not good. You don't really know what the ball's going to do. It's a very, very odd, uncomfortable sound. And that happens as you generate less swing speeds. The biggest issue with this club is obviously the bounce for me. But what I found in terms of where the sweet spot is on this club, and it is dangerous, very, very dangerous. If you look at the back, you can see how the weight is set up. So let's set this up square. So the majority of the mass is right here on the club. So if we turn this around, that translates to right there. That is a danger Will Robinson area because you are so close. The sweet spot roughly here. Look how close you are to no man's land. You don't ever want a wedge sweet spot to be that close to the heel of the club. If you're not careful, it's next stop Shanksville, population U. And most wedges have a sweet spot that is more toe biased, right? And they do that for a lot of reasons. One, it keeps you away from this guy. And two, as you open up the club, the sweet spot stays here. So if we open up this club, look how close you get to this, trying to hit that sweet spot. When you open it up, if you can open it up, I wasn't able to do it because of the bounce. If you hit on the toe right here where you should be hitting these shots, they're going to come out so dead with no spin. So that is my biggest issue with this club. Now, you can absolutely manufacture the sweet spot point to change by adding weight in the back and things like that. But let's be honest, most of you are not going to do that. I am a person who lives and dies by my wedges. The ability to hit high flop shots, low runners, your standard check and stops, all of that stuff. I need to have versatility in a club. And the way that this club is engineered with, again, that very acute back here, I want more. I want this to come down a little bit more, and I want this sweet spot to move from here to there. That way I can play all the shots that I want to play. And that is why this is by far the worst in the bunch that we picked. If you were going to go for a 56, a 54, or a 60, or 64, 62, whatever, I would not suggest using this club. I would suggest you go to the Maltby Max milled. It has a nice big face. It has the same amount of grooves, but you have way more surface area to play with. And with wedges, that is so important. More surface area means more spin. It means more forgiveness. Shanksville. So, of the wedges, I love the 50. I hated the DRT The shallow, I don't even know if I'm going to waste my time trying it out because it looks like it's the same head. So I'm just going to be sticking with my Vokies. It's just what it is. I know what they do. I know how to work them. I don't need to change my swing. In the bunker, it's horrible. I didn't even show you my bunker shot. I completely sculled it 20 yards over the green because that bounce hit the sand and just shot it right out. So I'm not going to change my short game swings that I have developed over the last 10 years for a golf club just because it's cheaper. I'm just going to stick with the ones that I know and like and perform, and I know what they're going to do. So I hope that helped you if you're in the process of making a decision in terms of some of these new clubs that Maltby has released, or maybe looking at some of the other ones, the older releases, like I mentioned, the Max milled. I think it's a great wedge. So until next time, Make sure that you swing as hard as you can, just in case you hit the ball. G2 out.